Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 26th of December, so of course we've got another Steam giveaway. Today's, well, if you're expecting Far Cry 3 among other games, well, guess what? Tough. Just like yesterday, no such luck, although I will say for those of you who do want to get Far Cry 3 for relatively cheap, Green Man Gaming are currently doing it for a reasonable price, especially if you enter a code that gets you 30% off. So for those of you who want Far Cry 3, that's where to go. Anyway, for this little lot, we have a fairly reasonable selection of games, including Spec Ops: The Line and Legend of Grimrock. First of all, Legend of Grimrock I've mentioned before on previous videos, and it's a very hardcore first-person type of RPG. It's a pretty good price, honestly, for £2.99, but do not get it here. Instead, go to Humble Bundle, and for just a few pounds more or dollars or whatever your current currency is, you can get the Humble Bundle version of this. You have to pay a little bit more because you need to unlock the two kind of big games, if you will. But if you do that from Humble Bundle, you also get Dungeon Defenders plus DLC, The Binding of Isaac plus Wrath of the Lamb DLC. You also get Closure and Shank 2, which is a very, very good game. So it is definitely worth popping over instead and just getting that. Worst comes to the worst, hey, you can just pick up a little bit of a few games to give away to buddies. So anyway, yeah, that's my opinion on Legend of Grimrock. Well worth picking up at the very least if you're into those type of things. Spec Ops: The Line I've mentioned before in previous videos, but just to give you a quick recap, it's a very good first-person shooter and has a very interesting way of telling the story, especially the ending is very cool actually. I also very much like the graphical stylings of this game. It looks absolutely beautiful in some areas, and to be honest with you, is one of my favourite games of this year. For the price, £6.79, it's not exactly breaking records. It was this price earlier, but it's not too bad at all. Arma 2. I can honestly say that this is one of those titles where I've not really been that interested in. But Arma 2 is probably the most popular because of the fact that it allows you to play DayZ. But remember that DayZ is going to be released as its own standalone game quite soon, or early next year, I believe. Anyway, this game is relatively popular and could be worth it if you're into these type of games. Personally, it's not my thing, as I've mentioned before. But if you do want the DLC and everything else, this is a good deal for you. You save a couple of bucks by getting the whole thing together. So, hey, why not? If you're into that type of thing, as I've mentioned before. Sims is one of those titles where I've absolutely no interest in it. It's 66% off, which makes it about £10. And you've also got various pieces of content for the game that's, well, between 50 and 66% off. Sims 3, of course, allows you to basically create a virtual life inside of a computer and do pretty much everything that you ever want. It's not something that I've been particularly interested in, but it does score fairly highly. Once again, it is up to you if you're into it. My personal opinion is it's not really my type of game, but other people, they absolutely love it, so I'll leave you for that one. Next one, The Walking Dead. I've mentioned this one in a previous video. The Walking Dead is honestly a very good game. It is not a happy game. It's not one of those games you're going to play and then feel happier for it. But it is an absolutely fantastic experience. It's won numerous awards. It, of course, has scored very well on various magazines and so on, and, of course, is based upon the TV show and, of course, the comic books. It's very good, and it's fairly lengthy. It will give you a number of hours of enjoyment. The latest episode, episode 5, has just recently been released. So you're going to have the entire purchase here. For £10.49, it's well worth it. I'm not sure if you're going to find it that much cheaper around anywhere else. I have done a little bit of searching, and I've found it roughly about this price, so Steam aren't really screwing you over on this one. So, could be worth it. Natural Selection 2 is also available. It's a pretty reasonable price, 60% off if I can get the word out. Or you can also get the deluxe edition for $11.99, or you can get the regular version for $7.59. And it's been described as a mash of Counter-Strike and StarCraft, which of course has pretty large player fan bases. It also won numerous awards such as Best of IGN 2012 and other bits and bobs. It's pretty cool, but it's multiplayer orientated, so at the moment it's not really my thing. but it does score well, as I've mentioned before. It's a pretty good price. You're probably not going to find it that much cheaper than this, and it's a fairly recent release. It does look aesthetically very pretty as well. No one can accuse this game of looking ugly. So yeah, this is a fairly short video as I've pretty much covered most of these games before. There are a few flash deals I'm going to get on with, however. Let's see. Borderlands 1 and 2 are available on flash deals. I've mentioned these before, but in my opinion, Borderlands 2 is a very good deal. It's 50% off, or $14.99. You can pick up a 4-pack of this as well. The only problem with Borderlands 2 is, well, it's amazingly good, but you gotta sink a lot of hours into it. It's very popular though, and I would highly recommend checking out if you're into these kind of first-person RPGs type of things. So, in other words, Skyrim or let's say Fallout. It has a unique blend of humour that does work for, which surprised me, as I hadn't played the previous Borderlands. But it's a very good game, and I'd recommend you check it out. It also runs really well and has a pretty damn good PC port. You can also pick up DLC as well, but it's worth noting that the DLC does not currently have any money off of it, so you have to pay the full price for that. And you've also got the Thief Collection. Thief Collection is a very good price at $4.74. That gives you all 3 titles. Thief 1 in particular is incredibly critically acclaimed. It's worth noting that you can actually get these from other sources as well, including GOG. But nevertheless, it's a good price for them. Thief 2 wasn't quite so well received, but you know, not badly received or anything. And Thief 3, well, same thing really. Thief 1 is really kind of the gem here. In terms of, let's say, the nostalgia, however, it was released in 1998. Could be worth picking up, however, if you want a piece of gaming history. And it's still a good game, by the way. And there's also Home, which apparently Spooner Kipper and Amata both own. However, they've said that they haven't gotten that far into it. However, they have said it's reasonable. They said that it's pretty cool. Haven't personally played it, but it's 67p, so could be worth picking up. That's 66% off. So all in all, I'd say this is probably an average day. The last couple of days have been a bit crappy, actually, with the Steam sales. They've not been awful or anything, but I have to say I was expecting a little bit more. No Far Cry, as I've mentioned, and a couple of other games were a little bit suspect by their absence. Anyway, hopefully you guys have found the video helpful, even if it's a bit short. But once again, I'm not going to go over old rope. We have previous videos if you need to see them. So yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys have found the video helpful. I will see you soon. Bye for now.